and spoke to a guy who spoke very little English, actually. And he transferred me to another man who could speak English. And I told him I would like to discuss something with someone important. And he said to me, how important a guy do you want to meet? And I smiled to myself and I says, well, I guess the most important man would be Brutus Garley. And there was a pause. And I had a shock. He said to me, you're speaking to Brutus Garley.
Whoa.
I thought, damn, wow. Curiosities and synchronicities. This was unbelievable.
Right.
Here I am talking to the guy. So I briefly told him about the cave in the desert and the Ark of the Covenant. And I also told him I met the Coptic monks, and I found out afterwards that this Brutus Garley was actually a Coptic. He wasn't Egyptian, although he wasn't a Muslim. He was a Coptic.
Okay.
So it seemed that we had something in common. And to my surprise, he says, how long are you staying in Cairo for? I says, I've got to go back tomorrow night. He says, well, can you come to my office at 1 o'clock to see me? I said, wow. So he gave me an invite. So I phoned up my friend back and I says, how would you like to come to meet Brutus Garley? He says, what? I says, yeah. I said, we're going to see him at 1 o'clock. And I still had on my desert clothes. In fact, if you saw the picture, you'd see me in the desert clothes there. And they're all dressed up in their smart suits and everything else. And there I was, taking Bakra to Dr. Garley's, actually called Dr. Garley, to his office. And when we got there, we were under surveillance. They have to check we had no bombs on us and stuff like that there, because you didn't know who we were. And they knew we had a meeting with Dr. Garley, and this guy escorted us to his office. In there was an ambassador. I don't know who the ambassador was. We got his name there. And we discussed the role of the Ark. But Brutus said, I say Brutus, he said, if it's found in Egypt, it's going to belong to their antiquity department. Yeah. And I told him they'd get more revenue from it if it was exhibited around the world. And it's got to help this planet. And if they could get a percentage of the millions of dollars that would go in from donations, that might be a way for them to let the Ark go out. And he rubbed his chin. He says, yeah, he says, that's possible. They could probably good for negotiations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyhow, what I've mentioned is, like you say, just part of the story. And I mentioned earlier, the cave has to be scanned to find an abnormality. An abnormality is find a shadow or something under the ground that can only be done with this ground-penetrated radar. And when I spoke to my Italian guy who could do it, he said it was made of gold and the size. He says he could scan the area within a few days. But for me to do it, we need to have permission. A permit to get it out there, right. And we can't ask for a permit to go out there to look for the Ark. So at the same time, if we can get a permit, archaeologists can get a permit to look for the second Sphinx, which I discuss and you discuss, and they can see. Then that's our stepping stone. If we can do that, then we can get out and find the cave.
Right. I just got a quick question. Was Dr. Garley, was he receptive to what you were saying? I mean, or was he just thinking he was this crazy person coming from America?
Oh, no. I've spoken to him about 8 or 9 times after that, just to keep in contact with the guy, because he was an important guy.
Right.
He's got an office. He's got his office in Cairo, but he's also got an office in Paris, in France. And I used to call him every few months just to say hello. He remembered who I was. He says, how am I getting on my search, and this, that, and the other. So he knows all about it. But the only thing is, unfortunately, the guy's in his mid-80s. And I don't know. I tried phoning him, actually. Good thing you said that, because I tried phoning his office a few days ago to to mention I'm doing a broadcast and this, that with you, and it looks like things are going further ahead. And I couldn't get through, so I'm hopefully he's not retired and he's still around. I know he had all his marbles when I spoke to him last about 8 months, a year ago, and he knew what he was saying and he remembered me, so all that was okay. So, but I'd like to meet him again because he knows quite a lot of, well, he does know a lot of influential people.
Plus, he's an influential person.
So, oh yeah, but remember, he's an old man now. He must be nearly 90, because when I met him, he was 84.
Oh wow, okay.
So, but apparently he had all his marbles and he's still respected. I hope he's still alive. I haven't heard anything that he's passed on, but he should be around. I'll try again anyway. So the only way is to get an archaeologist interested enough to be affiliated with the university, and we get that permit to get the ground penetrating. And hopefully, I got you. I found, well, you found me, or I found you. Whatever, you found me. I think
I found you through Klaus Donna. I was talking to Klaus Don, and he said, you hear of a guy named Jerry Cannon who's found the second Sphinx in Egypt and is looking for the Ark and talks about Atlantis and Lemuria, and I'm like, no, because there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover. You're also, in contact with some researchers and looking after the area for Atlantis. That you figured you found that as well.
Well, if I say I found too much, it looks I'm a loony. So let's do one thing at a time. But there's a lot of things I've gone on to. It's all in the book. There's a lot of stuff in the book that they read about where it looks like Atlantis could be, according to the research. I did some research taking a pinpoint from the Great Pyramid in Egypt on that westerly route, because if they came east from Lemuria, Atlantis, Lemuria, it looks like I found the two spots. But they can read about all that in the book. But hopefully by being invited by you to speak here, because I've never thought of doing a talk on a radio show. That was the last thing that came into my head. In fact, I never thought I could speak so long. I'm no youngster. I'm in my mid-70s anyway, although I can run around the desert like a 30-year-old, which I do. And hopefully that by speaking here and now possibly other chat shows, someone's going to come forward to be interested enough to get involved and perhaps sponsor a movie or a documentary to promote all this. And hopefully we can find an archaeologist, more important, to get the Sphinx found, a second Sphinx, because that would be a major discovery, especially now because Egypt are crying out for money because of all the problems over there. A lot of tourists are not going out there. But also with the book, if we can get the book out, that's even going to put more. And if we can make a little bit of money on the book, I'm not interested in making big money because I don't know how long I'm going to be on the planet. And any big money I make from documentaries or films, I'm going to put into this World Bank, hopefully with the Ark, and to help the planet. But hopefully we get the book out and make a few bucks on that, which would pay for a few more of my trips going out.
Right.
So we're looking for someone to publish the book, which I've written with this guy, Joseph Wesley, who's helped me a lot with the art. In fact, he got involved with it as well in the book. He did some research on the art, and that's how I found him. In fact, he also come up with a location of where the cave was, the same as I did. He did it through his way, but that's all in the book anyway.
Yep.
Something I haven't been told. You might have read it in the book. And Atlantis and a lot more. But my final note is hopefully finding the Ark, and hopefully it's going to take people's minds off of all the hatred and violence in the world and help put their thoughts to more peaceful matters and godly. And maybe, I'm not that of a religious man, but I do believe in God, and if we've all got something to believe in, and also the Ten Commandments, if everybody could abide by those Ten Commandments, the world would be a better place to live in. But there's always going to be the light and dark forces, so I've said, but hopefully it's going to promote more people to believe in God.
Yeah. I think that this is an important project. You've certainly done your work, your effort, the time that you put into this, nearly 20 years now you've been this has been building up synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. I mean, you're meeting all the right people at the right time, in the right place, and those that aren't supposed to be part of it, they get diverted or sidetracked. And you've met very important people in Egypt. I mean, some wandering guy who goes over to Egypt just to look at the pyramids doesn't meet the sort of people that you're meeting. I mean, you understand this is very unusual, that you're meeting diplomats and people that are head of the antiquities in Sinai Peninsula, and you're meeting very important people. So that it's unique, your story.
Yeah, well, the people I've met are not only important, but I've become close friends to them. And if I go out there again, they're going to help me. They can't get me a permit, I've told. Even Dr. Hawass sent me a letter, got emails from Dr. Hawass, and I even got his personal phone number. I've spoken to him many times. And he says that to do anything, I can't do it because I'm not an archaeologist. Right. I have to be affiliated with a university of archaeology or an institute before I can even get involved. And it has to be them to get the permit, not me. I can't do it.
Yeah, there's rules that you have to follow. And I think that what's going to happen is as your story gets out there and more people hear about your story, someone will come forward with those sorts of credentials to say, look, I can help sponsor you to do this. I can get you the permit. And you have people like your Italian friend with the ground penetrating radar. He can go out there and do it. If you initially do the work on the Sphinx, that gets you out there at least with the ground penetrating radar, that you can go over to the cave and then go, treat it as a dual, like a dual project.
Well, once we find a shadow, to find another Sphinx would be a bonanza. I mean, that would be great. It looks like there's something out there, but until we use ground penetrated radar, we don't know. But right. If everybody reads the 20 pages that you've put up with all the pictures, that they can put their own mind to it, because no one has ever examined that particular place where it is. The pictures there will show it. And if we can get out to where the Ark is and find a shadow, just a shadow of an oblong box, and if it is shown to be gold, then it's got to be dug up somehow or other. And I can't dig it up. Some important organisation has to do that. And it has to be a world sort of sponsorship, because, if just the Egyptians, or bless the Egyptians, I mean, I get on very well with the Egyptians. My friends I like going out there. But if the Egyptians just dig it up, it will go into their museum or whatever they want to do with it. There could be a third world war. I mean, Israel might want to get the Ark. Other people, Christians and that, may want to get it out. Who knows what can happen? I wouldn't want any more blood on my hands. So it has to be organised. Once we've found the shadow and something is definitely there, and through all what I've told you and what we've seen, it looks like the time should be right soon. Then it's got to be found, dug up.
Right. It would make a hell of a documentary too.
Oh yeah. Okay. It would make a good documentary. But as I say, if a documentary movie is made, I'll take off a few bucks for help me to pull some of the 20 years I've put in, but the bulk of it would all go into a world pot to help the organisation or donate it. That's what I want to do.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of hungry people in the world, so I mean, anything like that could help. Yeah. Well, I do appreciate your time talking for so long and giving us all this incredible information. Like I said before, this is just the surface level, what he's telling us. There's many side stories within the book. I've read the book. I've read the whole book. It's an amazing book. I think it absolutely should be published.